Hello and welcome back to Hindustan Astrology. I'm Katya, and in today's video, we are going to discuss the month of February 2024. All right, you guys, so this is the big month. This is the month that we've been talking about for years, and that is the Pluto return for the United States birth chart. So Pluto takes 248 years to go around the sun. So only countries see this, right? Because obviously people aren't going to live that long. Um, but Pluto is, he's the god of the underworld. He rules hidden things, occult secrets. He rules, he's the power of the small, such as like an atom bomb or a virus that can take you out, right? And Pluto also, because he rules hidden things, he rules secret societies, the government, hidden power societies, that kind of thing. So for the United States to have their Pluto return is a big deal. So that is one thing. And then for this ride, we have Mars coming along. So that is going to flavor the whole month, and Mars will be in a sign of exaltation. So very, very transformative month ahead. We also have a Sun-Saturn conjunction, and it's particularly powerful because Saturn is in his best sign of Aquarius. So we have lots to talk about. So without further ado, let's look at the charts. All right, so here we have the transits for the month of February 2024, Vedic Sidereal Astrology Forecast. I'm Katya, and in this video, we are using the Vedic Sidereal system of astrology. This is not Western astrology, so you cannot use the Western placements with this system. It just won't make sense, okay? So let's get started. Right off the bat, February 1st at 3:53 a.m. EST, we have Mercury entering Capricorn. Mercury does great in Capricorn because his best sign is Virgo, another earth sign. So this will help if we've been having anxiety. This will help ground our mind, help our nervous system. And it's also really good for studying. And, you know, we just came off of that Graha Yuddha or planetary war between Mars and Mercury. It was on January 28th. And, you know, they're already arch enemies. And so when they come into planetary war or fighting over a degree, we can have a lot of arguing, a lot of debating. We can have personal attacks, online attacks. We can have difficulty with law. Yeah, sixth house is the house of the enemy. So if you have it there, you know, you probably felt it pretty strongly. So yeah, having them separate, you know, is great, right? Because Mercury moves faster. But on the 5th at 11:13 a.m. EST, Mars is entering Capricorn, which is his sign of exaltation. So even though they are together, Mars is exalted, so that's going to help him not be so reactive. When they were in planetary war, it was in Sagittarius, and Mars is pretty fiery there. So now he's able to control himself. And that's pretty much the theme of the month, is grounding yourself. And, you know, Capricorn is the sign of authorities. It's the sign of governments. And we've seen all over the world that, you know, the world's on fire, man. Like, it's not, this is something that's needed to happen for a long time. We are in a great awakening, which is what Pluto is about. And Pluto is also flavoring the month because he's having his Pluto return. So let's take a look at this new moon first, though. So it is on February 9th at 6 p.m. EST, 26 degrees, 29 minutes of Capricorn Dhanishta. So, you know, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. He rules the new moon. You know, Capricorn is the sign of, it's a sign of building stability. It's a sign of authority and governments and things, structures that last a long time because it's ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is the planet of karma. Dhanishta is the star of symphony, and it's also called the wealthy star. So Dhanishta, on a personal level, if you have this in your chart, these people are probably involved in music of some sort. Being in Capricorn, it does go into Aquarius too, which makes them a little bit more optimistic. But these people kind of suffer from depression, and playing music helps them a lot. Traveling helps them a lot. They are, pretty lucky at acquiring wealth and fortune because it's the fixed star Saddle Sud, which is the star of surprises and abundance and luck and joy and fortune. Dhanishta itself is ruled by Mars, and as you see, Mars is in his best sign. So there's going to be a lot of emphasis upon the governments around the world to, fix the economy, fix, these wars, fix the shipping industry. Like, get it together, man. Stop being so dang selfish and distribute the wealth. We're going to feel it on this new moon, but it is a new moon. So, that means that it gives hope and optimism. So, having this many planets in Capricorn surrounding the sun, you can bet there are going to be some solar flares coming out of our star, and that it will affect the media and communications around the earth. For the United States, this new moon is happening in our second house, which is money, wealth. It's also food, and having the shipping industry disrupted is, going to slow down everybody's food. And obviously what's happening with the wars in the Middle East, food distribution is going to be a big issue during this time, with the US involved. But Saturn's in our third house for the United States chart. This is the chart of the day. But for the United States, we're a Sagittarius ascendant. So Saturn's in the third house, and this is media communication. And he is making a direct trine to Jupiter. And this is a game changer, and Rahu and Neptune, this is all smoke and fire and deceptions being revealed, scandals being revealed. This is going to be a massively intense new moon. I will make a separate video about the, what it means for each sign. But in the meantime, just know that there's going to be some deep transformation going on. And also there's going to be a lot of beautiful music coming out during this time because of all of the tragedies around the world. Having Rahu in Pisces sign of exaltation, Venus is sign of exaltation, which is Pisces, and Neptune is there, which rules music. All of the hardship, experienced by the working class, experienced by the minorities, are going to be expressed through music, and poetry and acting and writing, and all of the arts are going to be expressing the suffering of the people. So I feel like this is going to be a particularly potent new moon. Okay, so now next we have February 12th, March to March 17th. We have Saturn combust the sun. So, this happens every year, right? Sun moves faster and comes around and hits Saturn every year as he goes through his signs. But they are enemies. Sun is the father of Saturn, and Saturn was kind of like the problem child. And so it's a problem with authority. So you better bet there's going to be some problems with the authorities around the world because the favor is in Saturn's hand, because Saturn is in his own sign of Aquarius and is also his Mula Tricona or best sign. So there could be power, depending on where it is in your chart personally, there could be power struggles, just feeling in the shadows, that kind of thing. But Saturn has the upper hand, and it's going to be a real contentious fight between the two. February 13th, 5:15 a.m. EST, we have the Sun entering Capricorn. And as you know, in the sidereal zodiac, it's usually the 13th to the 15th that the Sun changes signs. So if you have this in your chart, happy birthday. Capricorn people are so good at being organized. They're so good at saving money, saving food for the future. Like they're really great at providing a stable environment. So that's a wonderful quality about Capricorn people. As I said, as the Sun enters Capricorn, he's going to be with all these other planets, and that's going to make him go erratic. So power truly is in Saturn's hand, because it's like the Sun is absorbing the energy of the planets. When they're combust the Sun, they can't operate properly. But all that power being sent to the Sun makes him produce flares. So, that affects our health. It's not just the satellites around the Earth or our power grid. When the solar flare is Earth directed, if you have a heart condition, it can go out of whack. If you have anxiety or depression, you could have a flare up that day. If you have arthritis or any kind of pain issues, it will be worse that day. So just knowing that the Sun is going to be with all these planets, just, forewarned is forearmed, right? So February 14th at 1:03 a.m. EST, we have the Mars-Pluto conjunction at 6 degrees, 34 minutes of Capricorn, Uttara Ashada. Now, this is the precursor to the actual Pluto conjunction, which is in a few days. It's in about a week after this. So, this is war. I mean, very clearly. Mars is the planet of action. He's the soldier. He can become violent. Pluto is war. And it's Valentine's Day. So, I can only imagine what evil things could come out of this. And it's like we have to go through this dark night of the soul to get to the other side. We have to bring this darkness to light to release it. But it's never fun to do, right? And it's never fun to watch because we're all traumatized. So, but just knowing that that's coming up can help. February 19th at 7:33 p.m. EST, we have Mercury entering Aquarius. And he's going to be with the Sun and Saturn. And look, Mercury, I think Mercury does great in Aquarius. Now, it is an air sign, but Mercury also rules Gemini. But Mercury and Gemini can often produce a lot of anxiety. So having Mercury with the Sun and Saturn is actually going to, help Mercury to ground some of that anxiety. And like I said, this is a beautiful time for music, and Mercury in Aquarius is incredibly inventive, innovative, unique, otherworldly, I wouldn't be surprised if we hear something about the ET disclosure movement coming out of the government, since we have the Sun-Saturn conjunction with it. I would not be surprised if we get some otherworldly communications, something breaks open, even on a personal level. Then February 21st, we have another planetary war between Mars and Venus. And in planetary war, Mars always loses. So just so you know, Venus will win. But it's at 11 degrees of Capricorn, Shravana Nakshatra. And so I pulled up the chart. This is the chart for that exactly. And I wanted to pull this up because this is the day before we have the Pluto conjunction. And so basically it's all kind of happening at the same time. So this is going to tell us the flavor of this Pluto conjunction. But when Mars and Venus are coming together, it's usually very passionate. Oftentimes, it will involve relationships. It will involve our values because Venus is values. It will involve, that creative spark. And for DC, of the chart of the day, it's happening in the fourth house of the homeland. So this could presage an attack on the homeland because Pluto is always involved with war. And like we said, Mars was there, but having Venus, you would think that Venus would have nothing to do with war because she's the planet of love. But actually she does rule. She does rule war as well. Like the goddess Ishtar from Babylon, she was also the goddess of war. And this goes back to the fact that Venus is actually a very fiery planet, like what she's composed of chemically. She's very fiery. And, having her with Mars is just kind of like a fan to the flame. And Venus is values and Mars is territories. So this is placing more emphasis upon the traditions of the territories of the people on either side, right? So yeah, I think things are going to be flaring up in the Middle East for sure. And then for the United States, I think it's going to have a lot to do with shipping and attacks on the homeland. Saturn is, this is in Capricorn ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is up here, combust the sun with Mercury. So this is like, wow, very contentious energy. And right here on the right is the USA chart. So you can see what I was talking about. Our Pluto return. Now, Pluto is retrograded in the USA chart, but Pluto's going retrograde this summer, and we are going to have a second Pluto return hitting this degree of 6 minutes, 6 degrees, 49 minutes. And that is December 30th of 2024. So Pluto will hit this degree twice. The first is February 22nd, US Pluto returns 6 degrees, 49 minutes, Capricorn, Uttara Ashada. So everything we've been talking about, the world leaders and the wars going on, and especially concerning food, interestingly enough, because the second house is what we put into our mouth, and it's also what comes out of our mouth in the form of speech. And having Mars there is, I think, we're going to war. I mean, I think we already are, but having Mars in Capricorn might help with negotiations, especially with Mercury, with Saturn. It might help with negotiations to mitigate a war getting worse than it needs to be, right? So the Pluto return, we're lucky to be alive to see this, y'all. This only happens once every 248 years. So Uttara Ashada is about, it's called the universal star. But people that have this in their chart, personally, they're like workaholics. These people are always striving for more. They are very organized, but they are very, it's also called the ladder victory. So it's winning at the end, right? Like a hard fought battle that maybe you didn't think you were going to win. And then, Uttara Ashada signifies that it's the ultimate victory. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. February 24th at 7:31 a.m. EST, we have our full moon at 11 degrees, 11 minutes of Leo Magha Nakshatra. So this chart is here, and full moon in Leo. Again, moon is isolated. She was isolated for the last new moon. She's going to be behind Ketu. This is not good for anyone's mental health. Magha is the star of the ancestors. It's The Star of Power is what it's called, but it is ruled by K2 and indicates our heritage and our family and our lineage. And people that have this are very proud of their family. They're very proud of where they came from. And so for the United States, this is happening over here in the ninth house of foreign lands. Yeah, I just feel like there's going to be a lot of discussion about, I mean, ultimately, tribes and states and cultures, that have a heritage come down to territories and borders and things like that. And so, we've been hearing a lot about the southern border in the US as well. But the moon is in Leo's sign of the sun, which is ruled by Leo's ruled by the sun. And so sun is with Saturn and Mercury. So all the stuff we've been talking about, Saturn giving his third aspect to Jupiter, bringing a game change. Maybe we're going to see a victory for, well, I mean, yeah, the authority is in jeopardy, but maybe a victory for people that are concerned with their race. And people that have MAGA anywhere in their chart, any planet that is ill aspected, can sometimes be racist, right? So, because they're so proud of their culture, they think it's better than everyone else's. So that is the issue I'm trying to talk about and get to the bottom of, is that people are very proud of their cultures. And this, MAGA is also royalty. It rules royalty. So people that think they're better than other people because of their background, those issues are going to come out for this full moon. And for the United States chart, like I said, it's in the ninth house, and that rules law. We still have a lot of women's health issues to grapple with. Some laws are going to change, and especially concerning, women's rights, concerning things overseas, like we talked about, but also here in America, the laws. It's going to be hot and heated, I think, in the courts around this full moon. February 28th, we have the Sun and Saturn conjunction at 15 degrees Aquarius, Shatabishak. Well, this is going to be the time, you guys, when we get some incredible medical breakthroughs, things that we've been wanting, waiting for like personally, I've been waiting for a certain medical study to come out. They said that they might have found a cure for cancer, I heard, or a vaccine for cancer or something, like things that we never thought would happen are coming out. And also, Shatabishak is the veiling star. So, the veil is being ripped off, and we are able to see the truth that's been hidden. And this is going to be a big issue for people of the working class and minorities. The power struggle is going to shift into their hands, I feel. And, especially this is an election year, right? People are tired of these incredible, prices we're paying right now for groceries and for gas. And I mean, just everything is just coming down on our heads. And the veil is being ripped off. And so I just want to have you, just be cognizant of this. And you'll start seeing it everywhere. And yeah, it's going to be a wild month. It's going to be a wild ride. All right, you guys. So that's what we're dealing with this month. So I'm going to make a separate video that is on, what it means for each sign, but pretty much for everyone, we are feeling this transformation like across the board in all areas of our life. So just, strap on your seatbelt, man, because it's going to be a wild ride. And do your part to use the energy of Capricorn to keep you grounded. Don't engage in arguing or fighting. Bite your tongue. Seriously, like this is not the time to get into fights with people. This is not the time to, you know, indulge in anger. And really, anger is an indulgence. It's just like sugar or alcohol. People can get addicted to anger and addicted to the chemical surge of endorphins that they get. So rather than indulging in it that way, try to put your energy into exercising, get out in nature and do some walking, hang out with your dogs or other animals that you have, like really try to use Capricorn's energy to ground yourself because, um, we're all in this together and the 100th monkey effect is very real. So if one area of the planet starts to freak out, then it starts to kind of trigger the other places around them. So let's just say a prayer for everyone that we get through this and we can get to the other side and put some of these power structures back together so that it's fair for everyone. And I think that, um, we may not see it in our lifetime, but if we start this now, then it will help uh, our, our descendants because, this everything is for the little bitty boys and girls of the world. We've got to take care of these babies. I don't care what anybody thinks about anything. The children come first. And so, um, use the energy of Capricorn to build a stable and safe world for them. So I hope that you and your family, get through this Pluto return together and, just hang on tight. It's going to be wild. Now, if you want to see how this will affect you personally, just go to hindustanastrology.com and click on the consultations tab. I would love to see you. Of course, don't forget to check me out on my other social media platforms. I have different videos and different stuff that I post there. So until next time, namaste, and I'll see you later. Bye.